change has come to America.
Some people call Obama's election the Facebook election.
Perhaps nothing has transformed politics in the last generation like social media, and nothing has transformed social media as much as Facebook.
There were a group of students who had decided to form an organization called Students for Barack Obama. And they used this thing called Facebook. And so they invited me to a rally at George Mason University.
Facebook allowed those many young people who were so excited about Obama's campaign to find each other and to campaign effectively.
I asked my staff, I said, how many folks do you expect are going to be there? They said, well, maybe 100. And we walk into this building, and 3,500 students are there. My goodness!
Even before Barack Obama formally declared his presidential aspirations, he seized upon the promise and power of Facebook by going directly to its source, where he met with one of Mark Zuckerberg's co-founders, Chris Hughes.
Barack Obama and his, at that time, Senate staff came to Facebook and came to me wanting to set up a presence on Facebook. I ended up making the decision to take a leave from Facebook and go and work for Obama right after he announced in February of 2007.
I'm putting it around my neighborhood.
By the end, we had over 250,000 events organized, 35,000 grassroots groups, and we raised over $500 million online, not to count the money that came in offline. And so that was really the engine that powered the campaign and helped us eventually win the presidency.
The lesson was not forgotten once President Obama arrived at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. With well over 17 million fans, his Facebook page is one of the most popular on the site. The White House has its own page, and for the first time in history, it has a team dedicated to social media.
Today, even with the most advanced advertising systems that exist, they only have estimates of what someone's gender might be, or what someone's age might be, or what they might be interested in. But on Facebook, we know exactly what gender someone is, and exactly how old they are, and exactly what they're interested in.
At a presentation to advertisers in 2007, Mark Zuckerberg pitched the benefits of Facebook's vast database.
When you run ads on Facebook, you're also going to learn a lot about the audience that you're reaching. And a lot of this you're going to be able to do directly through the messages that you send to them and the content that they upload. But the rest we're going to do by aggregating non-personally identifiable information about the users that you're reaching.
Facebook's lifeblood and the heart of its revenue model is the accumulation of data its users volunteer, including their interests or likes. Advertisers who helped boost Facebook's revenue to an estimated $1.4 billion in 2010 buy access to that goldmine of anonymous demographic information, enabling them to reach a remarkably specific and well-targeted audience. Let's say, for example, you're a publisher. You're looking to launch the next big novel. You just click on the ad page. If you want to target men on Facebook between the ages of 35 and 50, there are more than 22 million of them. You want to narrow it down even more? Okay, how about men who like to read, are single, college educated, and live in New York? So with just a few clicks, you have sent an ad to 3,567 people who might actually buy your book. Today, more than 1 million businesses are on Facebook, including more than half of the Fortune 500. It's all about going where the customers are.
They don't go on a brand's website every day, but they go on their Facebook page every day.
Christian McMahon heads the Dos Equis beer marketing team.
That level of two-way conversation and engagement with consumers, you don't get in any other medium as well as you get with Facebook.
New video uploaded every minute, but all that pales in comparison to Google's crown jewel and its greatest creation, the Google Internet Search Engine. If you use it to find a Google expert, you might come up with this man, author John Battelle.
You've studied the company for so long. Give us a sense of what Google is, how successful a phenomenon it is. How would you characterize it?
The most successful company in the history of the world. I think that's fair.
The most successful company in the world.
I think that's true.
In in the small, sun-baked town of Nogales, Arizona, just a stone's throw from the U.S.-Mexico border. We found an unlikely marriage of old-world craftsmanship and high-tech salesmanship.
The cowboys that wear our boots like to buy the toughest boot we can possibly make, so we delight in making the toughest cowboy boot that we can.
For decades, Bond Boot relied mostly on word of mouth, including some very famous mouths. But recently, this old-school craftsman took a gigantic step forward and planted his hand-cut boots firmly in the 21st century. Bond Boot began to advertise on Google. George Bond is Paul's son and business partner.
Did you know much about Google before approaching?
Only as a search engine. I use it a lot. It actually was my favorite search engine. But nothing about AdWords, nothing about the advertising. I had no idea how it all worked.
Google's advertising program is called AdWords. It's a simple name, but its effect has been seismic, and not just for small advertisers like Paul Bond Boot. AdWords is one of the most revolutionary developments in the media world since television itself. Author John Battelle.
AdWords made the company. The company would be an interesting side note, as there have been so many in search. Dozens, if not scores or hundreds, of really interesting search services have come and gone, or still exist, but no one knows about them. But AdWords is what made Google Google.
So AdWords is the magic?
Absolutely.
AdWords may be the most successful and profitable business program you've never heard of. It generates more than 95% of Google's total profit, $4 billion in 2008. If you ever wondered how Google makes its money, AdWords is it. AdWords is what generates the ads or sponsored links you see on a Google results page. If you Google custom or handmade cowboy boots, there you are.
Yeah.
The Paul Bond Boot ad often shows up there. Those are called impressions, and they don't cost Bond Boot anything. They only have to pay Google when someone actually clicks on their link and goes to their website. It's called pay-per-click. How well does it work? When Bond Boot launched their campaign, orders instantly spiked, more than 20%. And they've only gone up since.
How good of a program is Google AdWords for small businesses like yours?
In my opinion, it would be indispensable at a time like this. And you can hit the people who are actually looking for the product. And, you know, products such as this, that's a relatively small number of people, but they do know what they're looking for if you just help them get there.
Most advertisers want their ads to show up as high on the page as possible. Here's how they get there. Let's say Paul Bond Boot wants its ad to appear when someone does a search for ostrich boots. Maybe Bond Boot is willing to pay $1 for every click on their link. So that's what they bid on those keywords. But there's more to it than price. Google's algorithm also gives a quality score to each advertiser's website.
You can't buy your way to the top if your ad isn't relevant.
David Fisher is Google's vice president for global online sales.
An advertiser who chooses the right set of keywords and shows really relevant ads can actually appear right at the top and actually be paying less than some of the advertisers who appear below them because their ad is so relevant. Our system actually rewards that. There he is. He shows up in the top slot.
And that's what happens with Paul Bond Boot. They may have a modest ad budget, but Google often pushes them to the top because of the quality of their website.
What AdWords does is it creates a level playing field for everyone from the smallest mom-and-pop business up to the largest Fortune 500 company and lets them compete alongside each other.
Advertisers can also adjust their campaigns down to the pennies they spend, the minutes they advertise, and the zip codes where they show.
You actually are presented with a map and all kinds of ways of determining where you want to advertise. In the moment, I have it primarily set by country, because we're trying to control budget.
This is very addictive because it enables you to watch all of the activities of your customers.
You are exactly right.
It's a constant scorecard.
It becomes kind of a game that you're playing.
Like most AdWords users, George Bond manages the advertising himself, and it's obviously working. Maybe too well. Sometimes he literally has to shut it off.
Google could overwhelm us quickly.
How will Google overwhelm?
Given the indicated figures, it could double the number of orders coming in. There is far more out there available to us if we decide to extend the budget further. There's a lot more out there.